In a recent vlog that we did, you guys said you wanted to see more of this stuff right here. That's just behind the scenes Tech Guest City, stuff that goes on. And today we've got actually a lot of things going on. Later on in the day, I've got to flip this PC right here. And then also we have to replace that PC with something because I always like to have a PC up for sale. And then also this right here, we'll talk about that soon. But really in general, this is behind the scenes at Tech Guest City. There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, but I just don't get enough time to talk about it. And so I figured the vlogs will be a great way for me to just get a lot of stuff that I'm very passionate about. That's the used PC market. Get that off my chest and just mix it into a video. And if you guys enjoyed this one, then be sure to hit that like button for us. But outside of that, lately I've been spending a lot of time benchmarking graphics cards and then editing those videos. And that stuff is very time consuming. But I figured if we just vlog and talk about this stuff right here, it'll be just a great way for me to just talk about used hustle in general and things that I'm finding in the market in general. And we'll start off with this right here. So right here, we've got a motherboard, a B650A Wi-Fi. We picked this up for around 50 USD. And when the guy met me, he said, look, I pulled this out of a PC and I'm not sure if it's the problem or not, because he changed a lot of parts in his PC. Then I took one look at the socket and I realized there was just bent pins, and I've bent them back, and since then the motherboard worked absolutely fine. And actually I've got a client coming in later today with a B650 that's broken and I've got to replace it. So I'm actually pretty sure the motherboard in that build is probably gonna have bent pins as well. But basically what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that motherboards on AM5 have a lot of problems being easily exposed to bent pins. That's something I've actually found on the new AM5 socket. So when you're installing your CPU, just be extra careful, especially if you are extremely nervous about bending pins back. For me, bending pins back is just really easy, especially if the pins don't have bad bends on them to begin with. Say they're only like bent at like 10 or 20 degrees. But in this case, yeah, this motherboard was fixed up, got it for a really good price. However, right beside that is this right here, and this is the PC that I'm gonna be flipping. You guys may be wondering, what's up with this PC? I don't know if it's got power plugged up to it, but we'll quickly plug up that power and just show you what this PC is right here. And this one here is a i7-5960X. It's on one of those budget AliExpress motherboards, and it's coupled in with an RTX 3050. Now, someone's gotta love that beep noise. I actually really do like to have that on a motherboard when it starts up. I think it's pretty cool, but obviously not that great for interrupting a vlog. But anyhow, this PC right here, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and it's got the 3050, got the i7-5960X. So a great little rig for, say, 1080p Fortnite, playing games like Valorant and stuff like that. And of course, when it comes to flipping a PC, it has to have the RGB, has to have the look. And so what we've got here is 6 ARGB fans, and that's just off one controller, and the controller maxes out on 6 fans. And so a friend just sold me a heap of fans that he had because he just had an excess of them. And so this one really didn't cost me that much to put together. All up, I'd say maybe around 600-ish AUD. And then we're gonna be hopefully flipping it later today for 850-ish Aussie dollars, which makes it a tidy little profit there, especially considering we got the RTX 3050, 8 gigabyte in Japan for around 200 Aussie. And that's the most important part with a flip. You've got to get your GPUs at the right prices. Otherwise, that's going to eat into a huge amount of your flip. Though, anyhow, what we're going to do right now is get over to, and what we've got right here is actually excess from the hurricane or cyclone, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, the damaged PC parts that we picked up in the recent used PC parts hunt of the month. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put the link up here. But that PC and the whole excess there, I ended up going back to the guy and picking up everything he had, and we ended up striking a deal for around 2,500 Aussie dollars for all that stuff. And there's actually some really good news to come out of that. I ended up getting some of the RTX 3060s that were not working in that video. I actually ran them through the ultrasonic cleaner again, and then I applied vinegar. So there's one person in the comments was really heavily suggesting I use vinegar. They're like, use vinegar, use vinegar, use the vinegar. And then the GPUs started coming back to life. So really surprised. Thanks for the tips in the comments. Vinegar is, I guess, definitely the missing element if I'm cleaning GPUs in the future, I'm going to be popping a bit of vinegar in the ultrasonic cleaner too. So thanks for that recommendation. And yeah, that basically saved another 2 RTX 3060s. What we've got right here, however, is 2 11400Fs, and also accompanying that is 4 sticks of 16 gigabytes of DDR4. So I'm going to quickly test them out on these 2 boards right here. Probably not the best 2 boards to test it out on because I haven't actually tested the motherboards themselves. Marco is going to swap me. He's in Taiwan. He's a friend of mine. He works with the Zeus toy. He works with a NAS company, and I've met him in Taiwan for Computex a lot of the time. He's awesome. You'll see him in the comments section. Really cool guy to get to know. And we've actually got he's done some really cool stuff for us behind the scenes. He's also recently fixed up a GPU for me too. He's getting into micro soldering, and that's one thing he's focusing on. He really is passionate about it. Anyhow, he's got these 2 boards here. He says they're working. I'm going to be trading a camera, an old camera I've got lying around. He really wants to get into 4K video editing and making some YouTube content. So I'm going to be trading him a 4K camera for some stuff. I got a lens and stuff like that. And yeah, this is part of the deal that we're doing. So just again, PC parts. I love PC parts. So anytime someone wants to trade me PC parts, I'm like, well, what can I do for you kind of thing. So that's the deal we're working out there. But we're going to test out those boards soon. But basically with that deal from the cyclone damaged, hurricane damaged PC thing, the 2,500 Aussie dollars that we paid, we basically got the value worth out of all those 12th gen CPUs. For instance, I think we got 13 12700s that worked. And not to mention all the DDR5 memory. And then, of course, we've got some other stuff lying around too. Like, for instance, out of the HPs, there was 3 of the HPs here that ended up showing no rust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them to a regular contact that I meet in the used PC parts hunt scene. That's Les. I'm going to be handing him these, and just as a gift, because he's always been really cool to me. So they're the ones that I found had no rust on them. I believe they should still work. And so I'll hand them over to him so he can get some use out of them rather than chucking them out. But all the rusted ones, I ended up throwing them out because it's just not worth the time. But anyhow, that whole deal that we got from the hurricane damaged PC parts, I'll put what we got in total from that deal and everything that worked in the end right after we test out these parts right here, just to see if we can add them to the tally. But all up, I think I did end up scoring a really good deal there. And Isaac also, on top of that, he saw that my son was helping me out, and he gave my son a super ultra wide 49-inch monitor too that he had lying around. So just absolutely win when it comes to used PC parts.
Do you need to get Windows 10 or Windows 11 activated and don't want to spend $200 or some other exorbitant price? Well, if so, today's video sponsor VIP SCD Keys has you covered. For as little as $15 using the coupon code BFTYC, you can get Windows 10 activated. For a little bit more, you can get Windows 11 activated too. Links in the description below to find out more.
So we've now just finished testing out the 11400Fs. Both those CPUs, the good news is they both work, and 3 of the 4 RAM sticks work. So I had trouble with one of the RAM sticks not booting up on the other motherboard that we tested out. Unfortunately, this B460 here just doesn't work at all. I checked it out initially. I thought, okay, we'll take the sticker off the back. But as I was checking the sticker on the back of this board, I realized there was this massive gash in one of the RAM DIMMs, and basically, when you damage a motherboard like that, it's just not going to work. And what we can see here is that it just doesn't power up this motherboard. And so this keyboard I've got here, this 8-bit Do keyboard, is actually really good because it's got a power light on it. So as soon as we plug it into the motherboard, see the motherboard's getting power absolutely fine. It's just refusing to boot. And actually another thing I noticed when I first turned the power supply on, after having everything connected, the RGB lights underneath this board quickly flash for a microsecond. And so basically what's happening is the gash in the back of the RAM slot here has caused it to be shorting out. And again, it's just not worth your time and hassle to fix this board. So unfortunately, I think Marco did say one of the boards he gave me was untested. He didn't have time to test it. So I'm assuming it was this one. But that said, this one's toast. It ain't gonna work. But the good news is we've got enough parts here for a gaming PC to be able to build up. Anyhow, right now we've got to go to the computer store and pick up that motherboard, but you may notice that in some of the B-roll, we're using some of this right here, fish oil. And I'm gonna say this is one of those things where I heavily do not recommend using this over, say, WD-40 or multi-purpose spray. But at the same time, I absolutely love this stuff for the raw sort of cleaning of PC parts. It protects it, I think, really well, protects the PC parts really well from rust and stuff like that. But also its cleansing mechanism is a little bit better too. But it does stink, it is thick and sticky. And in this motherboard, the first one that we used, we actually put some, the GPU was giving out no signal initially, sprayed this in the PCIe socket, cleaned it out, and GPU then gave out a signal. So the wonders of cleaning PC parts and bringing things back to life. So it's now actually getting dark outside. It's about 5:30 p.m. I had to actually flip not just one PC, but two PCs. So I really was in a rush to quickly build up another PC. And I think right now, as we said before, I've got all these GPUs, and actually really cool video is going to be coming soon. I'm testing out a heap of different thermal pads because I have to replace all the thermal pads on these 3060s. And so we're going to check out if, you know, real cheap thermal pads from AliExpress versus the more expensive thermal pads, if there's a big difference, and if so, what kind of difference can you expect in temperatures. But we're gonna build right here, ready to piece out. I'm using this budget cooler here, the ICE 400 SE. I think they go for about 10 USD, very cheap. Got a 1 terabyte SSD. This power supply that we've refurbished from the Cyclone deal works absolutely fine. 3060 12 gigabyte, and then we've got that i5 11400F, 32 gigabytes of RAM, that motherboard. And also this case right here. Cases are really cheap in Australia right now. This is an Aza Fighter, and I picked this up. It's got 4 ARGB fans pre-installed, got the controller, everything. And we got this for 54 Aussie dollars on sale. So that'd be about a little over 30 USD. And that's got tempered glass on it too. So let's put this thing together and then talk about some of these. I guess these are gonna be the flips that are going to definitely, just because you're getting all these pieces together off, like sort of offcuts, I'm gonna piece this one together. I think this one's gonna be really juicy in terms of what you can flip for. So we just finished up this build right here, and for the photo shoot, we're gonna be picking white LEDs because I looked on Marketplace and everyone's using literally RGB, red, green, and blue. So we want our build to stand out. We're gonna pick the color that no one else is picking on our local Marketplace. But also, you noticed we got this build done in a record time, under 9 minutes, start to finish. So really easy to build in this case. But also, we're going back to our old ways, the Japanese style when I started up Tech City in Japan, building on the floor, building on the carpet, and of course, don't build on the carpet if you're letting off like mad static electricity like a Sith Lord. Then you might want to build on a, you know, have a static bracelet and stuff like that. But I'm actually one of those people who just never lets off static charges. It's crazy. So yeah, I guess that's each to their own. But this right here is a build that is going to, I think it's going to net us a decent profit. Like overall, when I do all the math, should be around 400 Aussie, hopefully. And again, that's because we just got stocked up on GPUs here, always getting them at the right price. And I think, at least when I check out some of my competitors and I talk to them and I know them personally, they're telling me they're struggling to get GPUs at decent prices. So, I mean, that's a good thing. And the 3060 12 gig, I mean, I just recently checked out the RTX 5060 8 gig, and it's finally getting to the stage where the 8 gigabyte is being a limiting factor, like actually affecting your stability of the GPU. That's at least what I found. But the problem with that is that 8 gigabyte 5060 is now gonna tarnish 8 gigabyte cards, I feel. So I'm gonna be definitely, after this build, I'm gonna definitely move to flip a lot of my 8 gigabyte cards, even though a lot of them are perfectly fine, and they're gonna be absolutely fine for a lot of gamers. It's just when market sentiment starts to move, you gotta move with it too. But we're just gonna get Windows here finished off and start stress testing this PC. and also talk about some other things. So we just listed our PC up for sale. It is all running, and we passed a stress test of furmark, where I've just started to use furmark now on the gaming PCs. Instead, I'd use like heaven on low settings. I'm just starting to use furmark quickly because it just absolutely blasts the PC in terms of power consumption and of course heat on the GPU. And since a lot of people are going to be using a gaming PC for gaming, it makes sense to stress test in one of the heaviest benchmarks possible. However, keep in mind, furmark is not good for finding undervolts because it's an unrealistic GPU benchmark. It essentially just destroys undervolts, and they get minimalized really quick with using furmark. So if you want to quickly home in on an undervolt, stick to using like Unigine Heaven and things like that. But anyhow, we're at the finish line now, and today's vlog is just what goes on, I guess, behind the scenes at Tech City a little bit. I'd like to show a bit more stuff, but I had to cook dinner as well today. Started off in the morning with a slow cook, and that's something as well. My health, I've just been really focusing on my health, doing a lot of exercise, and slow cooking is great because you can get the cheap meat from the butcher, and then you can just slow cook that all day and it comes out really tender and nice. Just makes for a real epic meal. Also, another trick is to save a little bit of money from the butcher. You can get like one cheaper piece of meat marinated, and then the leftover marinade, you can use it for the more expensive meat as well. And that's what we did here today. So little micro tips outside of tech, but everything's just good micromanagement really. And that's one thing I'm just starting to get back to. I really want to focus on is just micromanagement. But also another thing I wanted to talk about, you guys, some of you guys in the comments on the previous video we did about the RTX 3060, we had the sponsor spot from Temu, and people were upset. Some people were upset I was using the sponsor of Temu. Now, with sponsor spots at Tech City, I always vet the sponsors before I roll them on the channel. So with Temu, I've got a heap of stuff from them actually a couple of weeks before they approached me for a sponsor spot. And so I went on just my regular account and bought just a heap of stuff because I wanted to check it out if they were good or not. And that was the first time I've used them. So I got like shelving, I got a heap of pliers and things, some electrical tape, double-sided tape, a ratchet, as well as a wrench set, and a precision screwdriver, some hooks, sunglasses, all this different stuff, as well as a clock. And I bought a heap of different stuff, and it all checked out. It was really good, especially for the money. And then, of course, the RTX 3060, I got that, and that was fine too. But people were saying that they, I guess they probably over the years had some, I guess, pretty bad teething issues from the looks of it. But it seems like, I mean, nowadays they're pretty good. I did get one comment, however, that did concern me a lot. Someone said they got scammed. Now, of course, scammers are on eBay, AliExpress, any marketplace really is going to always be susceptible to scammers, but it's always the recourse. And so I'm just getting in contact with that guy. Hopefully you can email me the details about that. And especially if there was no recourse for him, that's upsetting. So I'll try and follow that up for him because, yeah, I just always never going to scam you guys. I absolutely despise scamming. It's just a horrible practice in general. It's one thing that just really boils my blood is scamming in general. So I want to not even associate with people if they're seen to have a scamming image too. So, I mean, personally, I tried Temu and everything was actually really good value. So hopefully some people can get, use out of that. But also one thing I will say about Temu is it's just like the mobile phone app, they've got to lighten up on these coupons and all this other stuff. There's just like, I'm just trying to buy stuff on the app and it's just like every 5 seconds to be like, you won this coupon, you've got this, you've got that. It's like, and I just look at the stuff and the prices, and if I bundle it all together, what kind of discount can I get? That's all I want to do. I don't want all this like spinning wheels and coupons and stuff. So, but do let us know in the comments if you've used Temu before, your experiences, whether it's good or bad or mediocre. If it's overwhelmingly negative, I'll never take a sponsor spot from them again. I do apologize if that's the case. So anyhow, back to the land of used tech, and what's going on with the market right now is there's just a lot of cheap parts outside of graphics cards. Graphics cards still has a hard focus on it right now where it's just like you look for GPUs locally and everything's sort of staying at that same price, even like 3070s, 3060s, 3080s, for instance. all that stuff is pretty much the same price as it was even from the used market like a year ago, even though the new stuff is coming out. And basically what that tells you is the new stuff is really not that competitively priced ultimately, to not be pushing down the used prices of especially 3000 series more than it should be. So it's kind of disappointing to see that from the new 5000 series. I expected a bit more personally, but ultimately it is what it is, right? We're just the players in the game. We don't make the rules. But yeah, I mean, playing the game, it seems like stocking up on cheap used GPUs, if you can get them for good prices, is always a good thing. And it looks like everything else in Australia, at least, like cases are getting so cheap. Power supplies, I mean, I've just been picking up power supplies here and there. SSDs, I'm still running on an old stash of that. And then also DDR5, I noticed that's coming down in price quite a bit lately too. Then of course, like things like Ryzen 7 7700s on AliExpress are dirt cheap, but I've got this massive stack of i7 12th gens and stuff like that to move through with terms of flips. So for me personally, overall, even though the GPUs kind of suck right now, the overall everything else but the GPUs is actually like a pretty incredible market. So do let us know in the comment section below what your experiences are. Love reading your thoughts and opinions as always. And I hope you just enjoyed this vlog, random sort of things that happen in a regular day at Tech Yes City. And if you stayed this far and you're enjoying the Tech Yes content and you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing? Hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.